It is day 52 of 365. Hi. I've been sitting here reflecting back on a conversation I had earlier with a coaching client of mine. And we were talking about self-love, and I was explaining how vitally important self-love is to our mental health, emotional health, physical health, just all around, how important it is and how much of an important topic it is and how important it is to work on that daily. And I was sharing a exercise that I did at the worst time in my life that really helped to transform my self-love, and I wanted to share it with you. So I've talked about this before. The worst time in my life was when my mom died 7 years ago, and at that time, like, just dealing with the heartbreak alone of her not being here anymore was torturous. And in addition to that, I felt like every issue I've ever had, or any issue that would ever come up that I needed to work on, just like sprung to the surface all at once and added on to the heartbreak I was experiencing. And it was, to say the least, torturous. And at that time, I don't think I had any self-love, and I didn't grow up learning about self-love and how to cultivate that in my life. I've never heard those words. So I began reading like any book that I could read, or any course that I could take, any mentor I could hire, or any healer I could go to, anything that I could do to heal my heart and move forward. I was there. And I read a book by Louise Hay. It was called You Could Heal Your Life. And that book had a lot of self-love practices in there, and one of them I committed to doing every day for 40 days, and it was the mirror exercise. And I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but basically what it was is that I had to look into the mirror, look at myself, look at my face, look into my eyes for 5 minutes. And at that time, I had a huge, gigantic floor mirror that took up the entire wall of my bedroom. So what I would do is, I was very reluctant to do this exercise, stand up and do it. So I sat on the floor, and I would look into my eyes. I would look at my face. I would look into my eyes, and it was uncomfortable, and I didn't want to do it, but I did it because I was desperate to feel better. And when I got more comfortable with it, and I really started looking into my eyes, I started to see the shine in my eyes. And then I felt like I was starting to see my soul. And you know, the saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Like, I started to feel that and believe that. And it felt very vulnerable, and I felt naked, although I wasn't naked, by the way. But that would have been interesting to try that too. I think it would have been even more uncomfortable. But I did it, and I continued to do it, and it got easier, and I started to feel better. And then I started adding in the 3 magical words, I think the most beautiful words on this planet that exist. Do you know what they are? I love you. And I started looking at myself, looking into my eyes and saying, I love you. And when I got better with that, I added another word. And do you know what that word is? And this one was uncomfortable, and it felt really strange. I started saying, I love you, Tina. And it was hard. It was not easy. And it felt really strange. It was like a feeling that I never had before. And I did it every day, and I passed the 40 days, and I saw the difference in my life. Like, I became kinder to myself. I was more compassionate to myself. And in turn, I was more compassionate and kind to everybody else around me. So it spiraled into the world and everything that I was doing, and into my environment. And I continued to do this exercise for 365 days. And I could tell you, it was magical. It changed my entire world, and it accelerated my healing. And I've kept it up for the past 7 years. I always look into the mirror and say, I love you. And I blow myself kisses, you know, like, mwah, I love you, Tina. And there are other people that have witnessed me do this and looked at me like I was really crazy. And I know it's silly, but it fires up something inside of me that I can't explain, but I really, really, really love myself, and I do a lot of things to express that to me, and I care about myself, and I respect myself. And what I've found is when my self-love is low, and at that time it was very low, when my self-love is low, I make poor decisions. I lower my standards. And everything in my life suffers, including myself. And I've witnessed that in my life, because I've noticed when I've made poor decisions, I've reflected back and seeing what was happening in my life and how I was feeling about myself. And I think a person, well, you know what? Let me just speak for myself. I could only make poor decisions that are not good for me, and tolerate things that are not good for me when my self-love is low and when I'm feeling insecure about me. And so this exercise has really helped to transform my life and everything around me. So I wanted to share it with you. And if you've done it, I'd love to hear about it. And if you're interested in trying it, it will create magic in your life. And if you want some help with it, I'm here. So send me a message, and I will see you tomorrow. Mwah! Bye.